The topic is Zimbabwe's readiness for artificial intelligence. Are we ready to embrace the AI revolution? We are not. In the entire discussion this morning, no one even talked about artificial intelligence. No one talked about technology. You're just waffling. You're not serious. You're not ready. We need to do certain things in Zimbabwe to be ready for this revolution. It is the biggest global factor. The government put up global, it talk about AI. And I'll show you why AI is so important. And the governor needs some education from the professor. Tell you. Another way of looking at it is to say the fourth industrial revolution, making the private sector and government ready for it. You know, the 4IR is driven by AI. And we're pushing for an ecosystem approach. The private sector, the government, the academy, entrepreneurs, the NGO community, and the international partners to make Zimbabwe ready for the AI revolution. Now, but let's understand the context. AI is just a tool, another tool. Don't forget about the big issues. Continental integration. Zimbabwe won't be able to be ready for AI without SADC, without the AU. We need economies of scale. Good old-fashioned integration and political unity. We need innovation, we need entrepreneurs. We need infrastructure power. You can't do AI without power. Stability of power. AI requires so much power. Now, we don't have enough power with no AI. Can you imagine the deficit as we embrace the AI revolution? Governance. Don't forget about good governance, zero corruption, democracy. Yes, I'm going to talk about things that you control as an NCC, but I want to emphasize that there are some fundamentals that are supposed to be in place for us to be ready for AI. And part of it is good governance, good democratic practices, and zero attitude towards corruption. AI becomes just another tool to solve global challenges, climate change, poverty. We must understand that. Let us be very clear, Zimbabwe. What is our AI vision? What do we want to happen in this country in terms of AI in 10 years' time, in 5 years' time? What is the vision? And having established the vision, what is our strategy, the game plan, to take us from where we are, where there is no AI, to the AI world? But more importantly, execution, and implementation matrix. Who's going to do what? When are they doing it? Where is this going to come from? What is the sequencing? How are you going to measure success or lack of it? How are you going to feedback? We need a framework like this in Zimbabwe for AI. Are we clear on the opportunities? Are we clear on what we want to do with AI? But more significantly, what are we going to do to achieve our vision? And implementation. The fourth industrial revolution is coming on top of three revolutions. The first was about water and steam. The second was on electric power. The third was electronics and information technology. Now the fourth, starting from about 2011, is about a fusion of technologies blending the line between physical, digital, and biological spheres. Why do we call it a revolution? Because of the velocity of the changes. Why do we call it a revolution? Because of the scope of the changes. Why do we call it a revolution? Because of the impact. Every sector, mining, agriculture, education, health, every sector is affected by this revolution. Most significantly, education, commerce, and governance. And AI is the key driver. AI is what we call the DNA of the fourth industrial revolution. That's why we're focusing on AI today. It is the key element, but it's a bigger revolution that involves many other things. like intelligent algorithms, like augmented reality, like big data, human augmentation, Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, nanotechnology, autonomous vehicles. But you can see in all those things, there's AI. But those are key drivers of the fourth industrial revolution. Where are we in Zimbabwe on big data? Where are we in Mangudga on IoT? Are you clear? Health Secretary, Utete, on what we mean by the Internet of Things, of everything. Where are the drones? Where are the driverless cars in this country? 3D printing. Where are the houses that were built using 3D printing in the country? Biotechnology, material science, renewable energy, major issue under the fourth industrial revolution. Energy storage, that's a very interesting one. It's one thing to harvest energy from the sun, but the harder part is to store it in batteries so you can use it for other circumstances. That area is too very weak because our battery storage systems are not efficient, they are very expensive. We need to fix energy storage to solve the issue of energy. Robotics and electronics, quantum computing. Do you understand what that one means? It's a revolution, a completely different way of doing computers. You know, for those in engineering, digital is ones and zeros. Computing under quantum, there are no ones and zeros. It's a different world altogether. Blockchain technologies, Bitcoin. We're going to make the governor irrelevant. You won't have a job. We're going to decentralize finance. There's going to be a central banker. That's the future. What are we doing to prepare for a situation where Magudga has no job? Are we ready? Let's make ourselves ready for that environment. Blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. Okay, they're fixing there. Blockchain technologies, Bitcoin, yeah. Here is the deal. That's another topic, Mr. President. Let's do this discussion on quantum computing and AI. That's a revolution, a completely different world altogether. We're not there yet, but let's prepare. Because when you combine quantum computing and AI, it's a completely different world. Some definitions, I won't go through these definitions. All I want to say to you is please trade with care. When you say AI, it's a technical term. When you say machine learning, it's a technical term. If you want, you can Google it, so you can use it correctly. When you say deep learning, it's a technical term. So I'll just share with you the things that you need as ZNCC. By the way, don't tell me I'm a lawyer, so I don't need to know this stuff. No. Under the AI revolution, you must be a lawyer who understands technology. You must be an engineer who understands constitutionalism and constitutionality. It is different realms. Renaissance men and women. If you are going to succeed, you must have a rudimentary understanding of these things. Artificial general intelligence. How is it different from AI? I will not spend time on the definitions, only to emphasize that please, let's make sure that we understand this as technical terms. AI refers to intelligence programming to machine, and the most important one I want you to is the AGI. You know, it's one thing to build a robot that sweeps the room, and build another one that carries food, and build a drone. What would be more interesting is called AGI, artificial general intelligence, just like you. You have the intelligence to eat, to walk, to write, and play soccer in the same person. Can we have multiple intelligences in a machine? That's AGI. That's the most fascinating stage which we need to know what's called AGI. Okay? Now, let me just demonstrate to you the importance of knowing these definitions. If you're in America, and you're going to Africa, Zimbabwe, and Mutambara, can you say, I'm going to Africa and Zimbabwe? You can't. Well, Zimbabwe is in Africa. You can say, I'm going to Africa, including Zimbabwe. I'm going to Africa, including Zimbabwe. Why did Zimbabwe? I'll go to Mutambara. You can't say, I'm going to Africa and Zimbabwe and Mutambara. Come on. So, machine learning is a subset of AI. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So when you hear these people say, he's doing machine learning and AI, just tell them, the professor said you are ignorant. You can't say that, because ML is a subset of, you can say he's doing artificial intelligence, specializing in ML. He's doing artificial intelligence, specializing in ML, and in ML he's going for deep learning. Moral of the story is, treat this subject with respect. It's a technical subject. This is engineering stuff. Okay? But all of us must have an understanding of it. But I'm not dramatizing. You can see from that, it's a subset. So to say AI and ML does not make sense. It's like, I'm going to Africa and Zimbabwe. I'm going to Africa and Zimbabwe anytime. I'm going to Africa, and in Africa, I'll go to Zimbabwe. Within Zimbabwe, I'll go to the town of Mutambara. Now you're talking. Okay, no time for this. This one is very important. This is what is called the revolution. It's called generative AI. This is where the excitement has come from. ChatGPT and all these things. Why? Because generative AI is about creating new knowledge, new text, new pictures. That's what's so fundamental about this, as opposed to the other AIs. ChatGPT, if you Google and if you use ChatGPT and say, write an essay on the rise and fall of Mussolini, it will write an essay on that. If you ask it again, it will write an essay with the same facts but different sentences. So it's not like when you Google, it goes to the archives and pick up stuff and give you. Generative AI generates information, generates knowledge, generates facts, new content and new knowledge. What are the big examples? ChatGPT and Google's BARD and Stability AI Stable Diffusion. These are 3 examples of generative AI. A special type of AI that uses algorithms and models to create new content and novel ideas. That's a revolution. Intellectual property, my sister. You're going to tell me now, when an AI product produces an art, or who owns the IP? So the whole world of IP has to be renegotiated using this. And that's why the excitement right now. Why is there an excitement? Because of the exponential growth of AI. AI is very old. When I went to school, we did AI. But what is interesting now is the growth, exponential growth. Understand it this way. You start with building the intelligence of a millipede, Zongororo. You move from the intelligence of a Zongororo to a mouse. From a mouse to a cat. And then to a monkey level intelligence, then to Joe-Jane level intelligence. Now, it's going exponentially from millipede to the mouse, to the monkey level, average Joe-Jane, Albert Einstein. What makes you think it will stop on Albert Einstein? What do you mean it will stop on you? Why are you so arrogant as a human being? If this thing is moving like that, what makes you think that it will stop at your level of intelligence? These are the dangers. We're not there yet. It's just so you don't get too upset. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. It is baseless human arrogance to think that we will stop there. That's an exponential curve. To flatten that curve is not easy. You can flatten it, but it will take you some time. We are talking about the idea of super intelligence. When you say super intelligence, we built a machine that is smarter than the smartest human being. That's called a super intelligent agent. We are not there yet, but we're getting there. Just to dramatize the power of AI. ChatGPT, for example, and you must go and play up with this thing. Right now, its level of general knowledge is better than all human beings in the world. Not a professor at Harvard, at MIT, at UZ, at Oxford. None of them is as good as ChatGPT or general knowledge. Why do I say that? If you go and type in ChatGPT, who is Nelson Mandela? It will give you. Who is Malema? Who is Snoopy Doggy Dog? Who is Dr. Dre? Who is Oliver Mtukudzi? Who is Nelson Chamisa? It will spit out the answers. But the professor at MIT will be like, what Nelson? Who is that Chamisa? I don't know that one. Who is Mtukudzi? Whereas this thing, because it's got 5,000 books in there, in terms of general knowledge, there is no human being on planet Earth where is enough general knowledge as this machine. If they can do that with general knowledge, what about other expertise? Chess. Kasparov was beaten by the machine in 1997. And you know, by the way, once the machine beats you, you will never beat it again. So if the machine was able to defeat human being on chess in 1997, imagine the capacity of the machine now. Spectacular and unprecedented growth of AI. This is the challenge of superintelligence. Why are we concerned? Well, let's talk to the experts. Professor Geoffrey Hinton is the winner of the Turing Award, which is considered the Nobel Prize for Computing. He's the godfather of deep learning, in particular what's called backpropagation. On the 1st of May, he quit his job at Google and said, hey, there are dangers in this field. Now, if this man, who is now a winner of a Nobel Prize in computing, who is the father of AI, is worried, you must be worried. You're not the father of anything, are you? What did you create? So I don't know enough, but since he's worried, I'm also worried. And here's another one. CEO of SpaceX, CEO of Starlink, CEO of Tesla, CEO of Neuralink, CEO of X. I know he's kind of a crazy guy, but he's the CEO of, you're CEO of many companies yourself. Well, what is the market cap of your company? 2 cents. This guy is a multi-billionaire, and he says, it has the potential of civilization destruction. I'm just quoting these people to show you that, yes, and I'll talk about the opportunities, but there are also dangers that we need to think about. Why is there a danger? You see, unlike in human biology, when you have an Einstein or a Newton or Elon Musk, you wait another 100 years to get another one. In these things, once you discover or build one superintelligent agent, you can get 1 million. In other words, if we build a very clever robot, we've got 1 million of those. Replication is very easy. And then they learn together. Unlike in biology, where we have these smart people coming once in a generation, once you get one, replication is very easy. You get 1 million of them immediately. And the agents learn together. That's the danger or the fears. But let's go to the good things since we're in business. Now, why I'm a bit agitated is because you guys have a whole session. You don't talk about AI. Look at the impact of AI. AI in 2023 has the potential to add $7 trillion to global GDP. $7 trillion from one technology. Global GDP is about 118. You add 7 just from AI. So ZNCC, if you are serious about business in Zimbabwe, you must find ways to be ready for this opportunity. Because we're adding 7% of global GDP from one technology. This is serious money. But the danger is if we don't participate in the construction of the apps and the AI, we won't be able to play in this space. It will be in America and Europe and or China and so on. There's potential for us. Since one technology is edited, it gets even better. The numbers for next year. Generative AI, what I say generative AI, has the potential to get 4 trillion. One part of AI, one type of AI called generative AI, will add $4 trillion annually to global GDP. On top of the 11 trillion from non-generative AI and fire technology. How do they do it? productivity. You talk about productivity here. AI is a key driver because it increases productivity. So in mining, in manufacturing, in finance, in agriculture, productivity should not go to AI. So that's where the number is coming from. The $11 trillion are coming from improved productivity. So what I want to see in a forum like this is how can we use AI in Zimbabwe to drive capacity utilization, to drive the quality of our products, to drive our competitiveness, because the potential is here where $11 trillion are being added to the economy by AI. Because of the exponential growth of AI. And why is AI taking off data? Our computers are now very efficient, they're very fast, and there's so much data. So that's why this is happening. Just to make sure you have a sense of why this is important. The American GDP is $25.3 trillion. China is $19.9 trillion. Japan, 5. Germany, 4. So just generative AI is equivalent to the GDP of Germany. Isn't that a huge opportunity? Just generative AI will give you the GDP of Germany. India, 3.5. Africa, 3.1. You see, what's your GDP? What's our GDP here? 20 billion. We're chicken change. We must be talking about integration. That's the collective GDP of Africa. That's the only meaningful number. Okay? Surely this must motivate us as a to say, what can we do to have a piece of this pie? Maybe just if we get 2 billion out of AI, just 2 billion. What do we need to do that? Jobs. This is your favorite one, right? Yes. There are 3 areas where jobs are going to be affected by AI. In Zimbabwe and everywhere. There will be job losses. Job displacement, job losses. Why? I'll give you an example. If your job was making a typewriter, and you were a master at making a typewriter, you are the greatest typewriter maker in the world, you'll be jobless today. No one uses a typewriter. Doesn't matter how good you are at making a typewriter, it's no longer a viable product. So in this industry, some jobs will become moribund and decadent. You lose that job. That's one category. Second category, which is most of us, job modification. The way you do law, the way you teach, the way you do engineering, the way you mine is modified by AI. You become a better lawyer, a better engineer, a better medical doctor by augmenting your skills with those of the machine. Job modification. The new jobs completely that didn't exist before, are going to be created by AI. So what do we need to do to be ready in Zimbabwe? We must reskill the losers of jobs, or potential losers of jobs. Reskill them, retool them. We must reskill and prepare for the modified jobs. By the way, not embracing AI is not an option. If you don't embrace AI, someone will eat your lunch. Everybody has to embrace AI and have a modified jobs. But you need to prepare for that. And of course, you need to build new skills and capabilities and competencies to take advantage of the new jobs that are going to come. Continuous reskilling, continuous education is very important. The day you stop learning is the day you die. Even without AI, you must continuously learn. Let me give you an example. Let's say your PhD was from MIT. MIT is the top engineering school in the world. And you got your degree in 1995 in computer engineering from 1995. And then we lock you up in a room in 1995 and produce you today in 2023 and say, Mr. Madam PhD from MIT, can you Google? Can you give us a tweet? Can you join our WhatsApp group? The government, what do we tweet? Because there was no tweeting, there was no Google, there was no WhatsApp group in 1995. But this man, this woman, is a PhD in computer science from MIT. So if they don't continuously learn, they'll be moribund and decadent. The moral of the story is, whatever your discipline, whatever your role, you must always go through continuous education so that you remain relevant. What is the job equation? The hope. What we hope is that NCC, let's work together to make sure the new jobs plus the modified jobs are more than the destroyed jobs. You really feel that AI is going to take out jobs and so on. If we don't get that equation right, they are correct. If destroyed jobs are more than new jobs and modified jobs, there will be unemployment, there will be loss of jobs in the country. But if we prepare ourselves as NCC, as Zimbabwe, we will make sure that the new jobs plus the modified jobs are much more than the destroyed jobs. So AI is good for employment. AI is good for our people. But the danger is we don't own AI. We don't create the apps. So most of the jobs, the demand will go to Silicon Valley, to China, and India. We need to actively sort out that. My brother, you're sleeping on the bed there. Don't sleep, eh? Sleeping for a revolution. How do we do it? How do we do it? Policy intervention to make the equation a factor. That's your job as NCC. What can we do to help Zimbabwe, to help the government of Zimbabwe, to make sure this equation is valid? Through regulations, through policy intervention, through education. That's what we need to do to be ready. Okay? I'll just dramatize. I see some of my lawyer friends here, lawyer Sarah there. So just to show you the vast applications of AI, I'm just going to list the applications in the legal field and list the applications in mobile telephony. The most important, so if you're in mining, if you're in agriculture, if you're in finance, in banking, ask yourself, what is the opportunity? What are the dangers? How do I unlock education? So do this for renewable energy. Do this for mining. Do this for agriculture. Do this for finance. I'm just going to list the activities for the law. The lawyer friends in the house will know these things. Your legal research and case analysis will be revolutionized by AI. Contract analysis, predictive analytics, document automation, e-discovery, virtual assistants and chatbots, sentiment analysis, social media monitoring. All these are activities that have been impacted by AI in the legal profession. However, just to make you happy, AI is not a substitute for human lawyers. We still need you. But you must be careful, we might replace you. Human documentation is a combination of the lawyer plus technology is a better lawyer. The lawyer plus AI, a better lawyer. So we are very positive. We're saying, let's modify your job, but you're still very relevant. The dangers, bias, unfairness, lack of accountability, ethical consistency, these are the dangers in the legal profession and many other professions of AI. Job displacement, professional competence, over-reliance on AI. There was a case in South Africa where they used ChatGPT and they end up with fictitious cases. Fictitious, it created cases. You must be very careful. It's called hallucination. So if you type in who's Professor Matuku, you might get right that he's a professor, but you might say the PhD is from UP when he's going to Cambridge. They might give his date of birth as wrong. So be careful with this ChatGPT. It can give you false facts. So over-reliance, shoddy and incompetent, these are the dangers. So what I'm saying for agriculture, what are your dangers? What are your opportunities? Then you come up with the mitigation. I won't go through this mitigation. What you can do to manage the dangers in the medical field. We go to mobile telephony. What are the opportunities? Enhanced user experience, personalization, predictive maintenance, network optimization, chatbots and customer support. This is the application of AI in Econet, in Net1, in MTN. What are we doing in Zimbabwe to embrace these opportunities as Econet, as Net1, as Telecell? Again, without too much detail, These are the opportunities in the mobile telephony sector. Do the same for finance, do it for mining, do it for banking. But don't have a session where you do business review and you talk about AI. It will make the professor very angry. Because you can't. I mean, this is today. Of course, the dangers, here are the dangers for mobile telephony. Security issues, AI bias, job displacements. Again, lack of transparency. You must mitigate these things, manage them, and then use AI. Okay? And I won't go through the details of mitigation. Now, the challenges with AI is what we call bad actors. You know, you and I mean well, but what if I'm a thief and I got access to AI technologies? I can go into the banks and steal money. What if I'm a terrorist? I use AI to destroy cities. And bad actors don't obey regulations. So you can regulate all you want, but there's a challenge around bad actors. And nuclear weapons, you see, is safer because you need a huge plant to build a nuclear weapon. You need, uranium. Whereas with AI, you just need a brain and software. So access to AI is very easy. And so there's a danger from bad actors. That's a terrible, unprecedented threat from bad actors. But however, as we embrace this, and I want to now concentrate on what needs to be done, it can't be business as usual. We must think about, I hope there are people from the academy here, and also in the industry. We must move away from employability, from long-term employment to employability. How employable are the graduates from University of Zimbabwe? How employable are they from NAST? So as you teach these kids, answer the question, is that product employable? Is it what industry is looking for? Entrepreneurship. Every one of the students must go through entrepreneurship as a training program. So that if you don't get a job, you can create a business. Let us produce business builders and entrepreneurs. Let us innovate. Let us acquire critical skills. We've moved away from the idea of, let me see your certificate. BSc, MBA from Harvard, from UCL. I could care less. Show me what you can do. Show me what you can do. Don't show me your certificate. What is your capability? What are your competencies? What can you do? In industry, we must be pushing this philosophy of show me what you can do. The University of Zimbabwe must be producing students who can show the employer capacity, not the degree certificate. Get your degree, but get me some competencies. Blended learning. We are now talking about how we can be ready for AI. Blended learning. Learning how to learn. Mastering how to think. Acquiring problem-solving skills. Right now, they're not doing this in high school. They're not doing this in university. Structured thinking. Transdisciplinarity. Cross-disciplinarity. An engineer who understands the law, an economist who understands philosophy, a medical doctor who reads the Bible and understands the Bible. Not the verses from the government, but the Bible. It's a different you. Don't tell me I'm a superstar accountant. Don't tell me I'm a superstar lawyer. I'm a superstar. You're a superstar nothing. What we want now is a Renaissance man, a Renaissance woman. To embrace AI, we must all become Renaissance men and women. So that we can be able to take advantage of this thing. Private sector, government, all of us in an ecosystem approach. We must become a typical, go to Google Jefferson. He was a lawyer, he was an engineer, he was a construction worker, he was a president. You'll be more effective as a doctor if you understand the Constitution. You'll be more effective as a lawyer if you understand the importance of coding. You'll be more effective as an economist if you understand philosophy. I'm not saying be an expert in everything, just be exposed. Be a Renaissance man or woman. So you must acquire capabilities. We must become job creators. Okay? And we must make sure that Africans, that's our challenge now, we are not owning the technology. Africans must be key players, not just consumers in this AI. They must proactively use AI to solve African problems. You know, there's load shedding in Zimbabwe and South Africa, right? What's it, level 100. Silicon Valley doesn't have that problem. New York doesn't have that problem. So if we're going to innovate around power, availability of power, it is us who don't have power. So as Africans, what are poverty? Energy poverty. Poverty. So we must apply AI to solve African problems. And we must also be producers of AI. We must own AI as well. If we don't, it will be very difficult for us to do that. Conditions that will define Zimbabwe's readiness. Early adoption of technology, Starlink. Mr. President, where are we on Starlink? Why are we even talking about it? Rwanda has moved in Zimbabwe. Oh, what about national security? National, we don't need security, you're not a country, you're a sovereign. There's no. You must think about regional sovereignty and political sovereignty. Rwanda has moved to Starlink. And by the way, Econet, that one, be careful, they're going to eat your lunch. Big time. So Econet must have a Starlink strategy. Anyway, summary, let us have early adoption of these new technologies and put in place enabling policy and regulatory conditions. Early adoption of technology. And the law. Okay? I've already said this. We must resolve our political crisis, and I won't spend time on that. But toxicity in our politics must be resolved if we're going to be ready for AI. We must have values and principles. We must understand our history. We must have the right mindset. We must be efficient and transparent. Hard work. Infrastructure I've talked about. As we talk about embracing AI, we must also get the basics right. It will be very difficult for us to embrace the revolution without resolving the basics. We need the political will in government to embrace technology. We must digitize our records as government and the private sector. We must make the government efficient, corruption-proof. We must drive productivity. We must also have an ecosystem approach. You know, some people say, well, but this AI is so advanced. Isn't it for China and America and Europe? Why did you work on the lesser technologies? There's an opportunity to leapfrog. I will demonstrate using mobile telephony. When mobile telephony came through, about 80% of our people had no access to physical phones. Banking, 80% of our people were not having access to brick and mortar banking. So what happened? So when the cell phones came, we embraced mobile telephony. And banking on the phone, we embraced that. Ego cash to person. Right now, there's nothing in Japan that is as good as in person. There's nothing in Japan or New York or Germany or London which is as good as Ego cash. Why? Because of our poverty, lack of infrastructure, we were able to leapfrog from no banking to mobile banking, from no communications to mobile telephone. So if we are clever, some of these technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are more applicable in our environment because of our poverty, because of our lack of infrastructure. Those countries have what we call infrastructure sunk cost. Let's say you want to introduce mobile telephony in London. You have to put it on top of the wires because you've invested in the wires. But if you're in Lotito, in Timati where there are no wires, just go wireless. It's cheaper. But in Tokyo, you say, okay, how do I build mobile telephony on top of the wires? Sometimes our poverty, sometimes our lack of infrastructure is an opportunity to leapfrog and jump. So don't be scared about these things being so advanced. They can actually be more relevant to us because we have poor infrastructure with poverty. Okay? Regulations. Again, I want Zelensky to take this up, by the way. You must be the driver together with government to say what kind of regulations you put in place. There are principles, and I won't go through them, context-specific regulations, pro-innovation, and these are different methods So, Mr. President, your job is to come up with AI regulations in Zimbabwe. And we must learn from China, learn from the EU, learn from the US. And these are some of the principles. Okay? And I won't go through them. But just know that there are principles of AI regulation. Okay? There are also what we call risk verticals. Risks. AI risks. Okay? And the verticals are one, robustness, bias, privacy, explainability, and efficacy. As ZNCC, why don't we champion the development of the regulations to promote AI safety by looking at these verticals? As an ecosystem with the government and academia. Don't reinvent the wheel. Look at what the European Union has done. Look at what the US has done, and the Chinese and UK. These are the key leaders in developing a regulatory framework for AI. In fact, the EU is ahead of the Americans. Yes, technology is coming from Silicon Valley, but the regulations, the EU has been moving much faster. Why don't we work together as an ecosystem in Zimbabwe to come up with our own framework? And AI as a law, you see, if you bring a drone in Zimbabwe or a driverless car, how are you going to use it? Does the law allow you to have a driverless car? So the lawyers must help us by creating the laws to allow technology to be undertaken. Actually, we need a law commission, a dynamic law commission that monitors technology and improves technology, that tracks technologies. All these things would go into the preparation for our readiness. And I'm saying ZNCC can champion this. Okay? We need 3 acts of parliament in Zimbabwe. I'm getting to the granular recommendations. You need what's called a Digital Markets Act, Digital Service Act, then the Zimbabwe AI Act. We will learn from Europe, we will learn from the US on how to build these acts. In Zimbabwe, there must be a Digital Markets Act, there must be a Digital Services Act, there must be a Zimbabwe AI Act. Let us take this up as ZNCC. An example of the EU, you can see how they did theirs. They started with the digital, and then this is the timeline. Okay, that's the EU. Where is our draft for Zimbabwe? Don't reinvent the wheel. Look at this, copy and improve, customize to your needs, but have a framework like this and a timeline. That's their timeline of the EU. And Zimbabwe is too small. We shouldn't be talking about Zimbabwe's readiness. I'm very happy that my sister is here from Southern. We should be talking about Zimbabwe's readiness. We're too small. Do you see Zimbabwe there? That's global GDP. Where are you? Mamutka, where are you? I don't see you there. You're sitting here saying, we're governor of Central Bank. Where's your economy there? It's not there because it's too small. I can see China. I can see America. I can see Germany. I don't see you. But if we're together, we're there. As Africa, 3.1 trillion. This is a dramatization of the importance of integration. If we're going to be consequential in the AI revolution, we must work as Africa. Not as little Zimbabwe. I know we're very proud of our sovereignty. But we must give up on some elements of national sovereignty to embrace the region, to embrace the continent. Unless you can show me there, you're not there. So what do you need to do? Mr. President, I keep referring to you because you are the CEO, together with the CEO. You need to make sure our AI efforts are within the SADC infrastructure strategy, SADC association strategy, PIDA, and the AU agenda. We place the AI efforts within that context. Okay? So that we can have a SADC AI strategy, an AU strategy. Why has cost gathering $25 billion? It's nothing. South Africa, you are nothing. $400 billion is nothing. Nigeria, all those are Mickey Mouse economies. They are non-economies. All of them. It gets better in SADC. Look at the numbers. It gets better when you look about that. So this is the economy. We must. How do we make that economy of 1.4 billion Africans ready for AI? With a collective GDP of $3.1 trillion, that's what we should work for. Is preparedness, is readiness. The world's largest free trade area. Can you imagine if you were to walk up and say, here come the African. I speak on behalf of 1.4 billion people, and behind me I have a GDP of $3.1 trillion. The Chinese will listen to you, not out of love, out of economics. They are making to embrace you, not out of love, out of economics. Because that's a market, and that's serious economics. Don't go there as little Zimbabwe. You've got to make a deal with China. How can you even make a deal with China when there's a little simpleton? What make a deal can you have with China? It's Botswana. Make a deal, make a nothing. Make a deal to be done there. So, here's your challenge. What is the SADC readiness? By the way, start in Zimbabwe, okay, and then work with your colleagues in Zambia and colleagues in Botswana to do the SADC readiness. What are the SADC digital markets laws and regulations? And then what are the SADC laws? You see, this is what is sustainable. But you start charity begins at home. But work with our colleagues from Zambia and do SADC. And beyond that, let's work on the AU. Once we do this, then Zimbabwe will be ready for AI. Once we do this, Zambia will be ready for AI. Once we do this, SADC will be ready for AI. But we can start from where we are. ZNCC and Zimbabwe can drive these efforts. So I came here to give you your marching orders. And then come up with this for Africa. You must now become reimagineers. Reimagine your business. It can't be business as usual. Okay? I can go share with you these methods of how to regulate AI and the different levels of AI. These are the methods you use when you're doing the regulation. But I can come and do it for you for a fee. No, for nothing, for free. It comes about me, right? So I won't spend time on this because I want to make sure I have some questions. Now, this one, please, everyone who's running a business in this country must do this. If you want to survive AI, if you want to unlock value, you must have what we call the AI transformation roadmap, what we call a treasure map. How are you going to move from where you are to the promised land of AI? What we call the AI transformation roadmap, number one. Number two, how are you going to build the talent bank? Don't assume that the people you have can handle AI. You have to build a talent bank. Number three, your operating model will not cut it under AI. How am I going to develop a new operating model? How am I going to produce a digital technology environment so that teams can innovate across organizations? How can I embed data across the organization so that there's ubiquitous access and use? How do I unlock user adoption? This is from McKinsey and Company, the best consulting firm in the world. You know, they're best because I work for them in Chicago. They've done this study of companies across the world and came up with a summary of 6 things that you have to do. So, if nothing else, this is how we prepare, how we make Zimbabwe ready for AI. As a company, as a government, as the NCC. Those 6 things. Okay? Then you can know all these things. Strategic things, I'm rushing, I can also share with this later. But it's important that we are clear on this. The other thing is an AI company. You must also form AI companies so that we produce AI products. Okay? That's a business that specializes in developing AI. We need AI companies in Africa if we're going to take part in that $7 trillion contribution. To do research and so on. So as NCC, how will you motivate companies like Tendo or Econet to form an AI company that will produce AI products for Tendo and Econet and also for the industry and for the region. That way, we compete in Silicon Valley. That way, we can have a fair share of that contribution to GDP if we have AI companies, and that's an AI company there. Okay? What are some examples of AI companies? What are some of the characteristics? AI expertise, R&D, data-driven solutions. These are the properties of an AI company. What can we do as CZI? What can we do as NCC to produce companies that have these properties? To produce AI products for Zimbabwe, for SADC, and for Africa? That's your challenge. What are the examples? Deep AI, DeepMind from Google. OpenAI. They've been in the press for firing the CEO. That's an example of an AI company. UiPath, Alphabet, Lambda. Why don't we study this and say, what are these guys doing? Why can't we come up with something similar in Zambia, in South Africa, so that we are players in the space of AI? Okay? So I'm now concluding by saying that it can't be business as usual. We go to be players and participate in the construction of these things, and we need to be understanding the opportunities and the dangers. But more importantly, understand what we need to do to adopt. Okay? And I'll conclude on my book here. I've got a book coming up in March 2024. The book is already being produced. It covers, it's more of an engineering book, but it covers the drivers of the fourth industrial revolution. Coming up in March 2024. And that's the back of the book that's on there. But as I conclude, let me go back to my initial chat. Don't believe the hype. You cannot use AI to drive your economy if the basics are wrong. Governance, democracy, corruption, infrastructure, water, power, digital infrastructure, connectivity, hard work, education, the right kind of education. So AI is just one pillar. Let's embrace it, but let us also solve the other things that will make AI easy to adopt. Picture. Let us be clear as ZNCC what we want out of AI. What are the opportunities and what are the dangers? Then we come together and build an AI strategy. But more importantly, we have an implementation matrix, very granular. Who is going to do what? When are they doing it? And how are we going to measure success? So I thank you very much for this opportunity to listen to me. But as I open up to the floor, I want to just challenge you to say, you must take the problems of Zimbabwe personally. Take it personally that Zimbabwe must do well. Take it personally that Africa must do well. Don't say, I'm a superstar lawyer and I'm doing very well. You'll never be respected as a Zimbabwean until Zimbabwe is done well as a country. Take it from me. I used to go to the World Economic Forum and talk and pontificate. And they say, who are you? Where are you from? Then I talk about, I'm from MIT, I'm from McKinsey and Company. Which country? I refuse to answer. I keep talking. Then finally I say, I'm from Zimbabwe. Oh, come on. You're from Zimbabwe. If you're that smart, how come your country is messed up? If you're that smart, how come there's cholera in Harare? Shame on you, Mutambara. You are no rock star. So I hope you're happy. Thank you very much. I'll take a few questions. Try to be brief. I'll be brief in my response. Questions or comments? Be brief and also be brief.
Thank you, Prof, for that enlightening presentation. As you have commented on the imperatives, what comes to my mind is obviously this is a generation that has been kind of battled or battered with challenges that we're facing. And from your own point of view, do you think that Okay, I was going to say, do you think we have got the right generational mind that is ready to conquer and take up AI and suggest that probably would you maybe suggest that we kind of look at the generation that can actually take this up instead of the current generation that we do have? Because obviously the industry of captains, no pun intended, we have obviously got senior citizens, but you think we've got the right kind of generational mindset that can actually tackle AI? Thank you.
Very important question. One of the things about being ready is the mindset. Is your mindset ready for technology? Is your mindset ready for value addition? You spoke about value addition. Do you know the problem is? I can set up a factory that produces cars in Zimbabwe or a computer. And the African will be like, is that car as good as Mercedes-Benz? I'd rather buy Toyota. Is that phone as good as iPhone? You as the African consumer must have confidence in African products. You as the African engineer must have the confidence that I can design a car. I can build a tractor. So I like that point. Part of being prepared is having the right mindset, and sometimes we don't. And also, by the way, value addition can only work if we go regional, if we go continental. For example, Zambia produces a tractor. That's a tractor. And we say at the AU, we are going to support Zambia. No one is going to buy John Deere. We're buying the Zambian tractor as a continent. The market is there. In Zimbabwe, we produce a baki for the continent. And we say at the AU, all the African countries, all the African governments are going to buy a baki from Zimbabwe. No one buys Toyota or Mazda for government, we buy the baki from Zimbabwe. The market will be there for that baki. So regional integration is so foundational to value addition. Because they always say, oh, there's no market, there's no side. If we are working together, think about diamonds. Between us and South Africa, we control 90% of the diamonds. If we were to work together, we'll control the price of diamonds. We'll cut the diamonds in Africa. Clusters, if you say platinum, copper, and so on. So anyway, I wanted to emphasize, do you believe, as a Zimbabwean engineer, that you can actually design and build a tractor? You as a Zimbabwean customer, do you have confidence in a tractor called Tito tractor, or we want John Deere? Now, yes, the old people are a problem, but they can also be worked on, because we can't get rid of them, right? They're all here, these old people. I think they can be re-engineered to have the right mindset. But we are very correct. Let's go catch them young. Go to ECD, go to primary school, teach them AI, teach them blockchain technologies from primary school. So that by the time they become CEOs, they'll be a bit better than these Jews here. But we cannot give up on ourselves. But as long as we realize that we've got a mindset issue, then we can work on it ourselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I was going to suggest that maybe we can take the 2-3 questions, okay, then you answer it once.
No problem, I'll do that.
So that we do not digress. Sure. Okay, my question, or my comment is, you have a very inspiring presentation there. I wanted to find out what you have done to empower the Zimbabweans. Like you're rightly saying, we can talk about it. You were talking about implementation. We are just a small group. As a Zimbabwean, what is it that you have done in Zimbabwe to ensure that we arrive to where you think we are going? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof, for that presentation. I was very excited when you talked about the basics, getting the basics right. I remember Zimbabwe sending 10 schoolboys to Silicon Valley to come and change the face of AI in Zimbabwe. My question is, you talked about catching them young and need for pupils to start learning AI at a very tender age. My question is, we have a very big gulf in terms of technology and AI advancement between the schools, even the institutions of higher learning and industry. So my question is, how best can industry collaborate with these institutions so that the institutions are able to produce the correct human resources to see Zimbabwe moving forward in terms of AI and before thank you.
Well, I will speak loud so that you can hear me. So thank you very much, Prof. I think this was very necessary, and I think this is the right crowd to present this to. I'm saying thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Bethan Lofu. So I work for an organization that works with 24 African universities. And I want to answer his question. Yes, we have a lot of talent which we are not harnessing. And I would like to take this opportunity to put the challenge on industry. Coming from industry myself, fully into certifying as a teacher and in education, I feel maybe there's a huge gap. Attachment programs are dying or deliberately being killed in institutions. So how do we build the skill? So I think as you're speaking, I'm actually speaking to a group of students and industry players who are saying we have solutions, working solutions, but we're working with 4 countries out of the country to launch. So products are coming out, but they're being launched out of the country. The talent is here.
Thank you, Prof, for that presentation. It was really exciting. I'm not a technical person, but I really enjoyed the presentation. But just following on what Bessa has said, and which has been a pet peeve of mine, I think that the ZimDev Fund is one institution that ZNCC must pressure to say, what are you doing with the levies that every business organization pays them on a monthly basis, not only in RTGS, but also in USD. Because part of the ZimDev Fund obligation is to work with industry to improve our manpower resources. So I think that ZNCC, if they're going to follow on what has been said in this meeting about academia and its need to develop or churn out graduates who are appropriate for business, is for us to say as industry, what are you doing to improve our manpower requirements? Because in fact, in the past, they were supposed to pay students who come on attachments to industry, but they haven't been doing that for many, many years. That fund now, I think, is just a salary fund, actually. So that is my contribution. Thank you.
Maybe let's take those quickly, then I'll come back. What have you done? Oh, my sister, I was Deputy Prime Minister. I was running you very well. For 5 years. I was running the country. My brother from Zambia, I was Deputy Prime Minister. So number 1, I've run the country and ran it very well. That's what I've done. Number 2, I'm an educator. And so I brought my books. I knew you were going to ask me that question. So I've got 6 books here. 3 engineering books, 3 political ones. I know they don't like the political ones. But I've got 3 engineering ones here. So my role has been knowledge production, documentation. And I said my book on AI is coming in March 2024. So that has been my role. And I come to the country to present and to give students that use that, NAST and so on. I would want to do more. But my friends who are running the country, who I trained, are a bit worried about me. They don't welcome me that often. I'm actually glad you brought me here. And I'm sure some people were not very comfortable. The problem we have is
We don't embrace our diaspora. We just want their remittances. There should be no taxation without representation. Let them vote. Why don't you allow the diaspora to vote? Because they'll vote wrongly. What do you mean vote wrongly? Anyway, listen, there's so much talent out there in the world. Please leverage it. I try to force myself in, and others try, but others give up. James Manyika is an advisor on AI to the Secretary General. He's a senior vice president at Google. Have you talked to him? He's a Zimbabwean on policy, on ideas, quietly. There are people at McKinsey. There are people in Japan, at MIT, at Harvard, Zimbabweans. We don't do enough as Zimbabwean leaders, as Zimbabwean business, to reach out to our talented diaspora. And so, yes, we should also make an effort as the diaspora to come in, but we must also look positive to the diaspora. So I'm trying my best. If the president can have me, I can come back, but he can come under undue pressure. That Mutambara guy is attacking the president. Why do you invite him? I'll attack the president because he's my friend. You know. So there's a danger where they're able people, but we're too scared to engage them. But I'm an educator, and I'm writing books, and I have some of the books here, you can look at them afterwards. And I ran the country. That's very important. Why did I say I ran the country? It was Mugabe, Tsvangirai, and Mutambara. Who do you think was in charge? Who was in charge? A country is not run by position. The president, the prime minister, the deputy prime minister. The one with the wisest ideas who run the country. So anyway, I did my part. I can come back if you don't sort out this, I can come back and sort it out myself. Schools, the private, very important. I think we need an ecosystem approach where the schools and the private sector work together. The private sector know what they want, and then they can inform the schools and also fund the projects. So that's why we're pushing for an ecosystem approach. And the schools, ECD, and so on to work together. One was more of a comment on skills development. The talent is there, I agree. We need to refocus it, we need to train it, but the talent is there in the country. So that was more of a comment, and I agree with that comment. Again, the ZimDef one was a comment as well, and I agree. Let's put pressure so that ZimDef is used to do the right thing. And so those are comments, so I won't stay much so I can get more questions.
So we get two short questions, one from there and the last one. In the interest of time.
Thank you very much. Mine is a very short question. Thank you for the scintillating presentation. Very, very exciting. And it's also exciting to note that, there are so many opportunities where we can apply AI, including the health sector, the service industry. But my question is, you said one of the imperatives of driving AI is energy. And at the moment, private sector, the country is hamstrung because of lack of energy. What advice would you give to government, especially given that we are not living in isolation? Whether we embrace AI or not, it is still going ahead. How can we provide more impetus to government to realize that without AI, we will probably not achieve those goals that are set out in the NDS1? Thank you.
Okay, Prof. Mine is I don't know if I can call it an inquisition or a challenge. Yeah. Your presentation, I've read deeper things of your material around that subject area. But there's one thing that I want you to come back at some point and discuss, which I think does not resonate very well with me. You mentioned democracy as one of the fundamentals that is important for revolutionized thinking. I disagree. I would like to employ you to look at the system of meritocracy, which I think is important because the democratic process, you know how well it works. We count the fools together with the intelligent ones. I am for the frameworks that select stars on one side and they rule over the stupid ones. That's my first point. The second point that I wanted you also to, as part of the recommendation to ZNCC, is exposure. You pointed out very well the issues to do with not reinventing the wheel. Just reading texts and material online is not enough. I would suggest tactical teams to go and mirror systems that have been established already. I don't know whether that effort can come from the government or the diaspora can create an alternative so that we talk of things that we have seen and exercised and felt the emotion about. I thought I would just point those two issues out.
Thank you very much. Energy, it's a major problem because without AI, we don't have enough energy. And AI programs require so much energy. So we have a double whammy. Number one, we must generate enough energy to run our industry as is right now. And even more energy to do AI. So our energy challenge is double. What we need to do, we need to move with those renewable energy systems, solar and all that, and hydro. And then in particular, what I said, battery energy systems. Let's partner with China, partner with Japan to build the batteries here and then export them, batteries here for our own consumption. And by BSS, not just batteries for cars, batteries to store lots of energy so that when there's no sun, you run from the batteries. You run a plant from the battery. So battery storage systems, and then regional projects, Batoka. Again, the ZNCC in Zimbabwe, why don't you work together in SADC to get Batoka going? Because once we do Batoka, we have enough energy for the entire continent. But it can't be done by Zimbabwe on its own or Zambia. So between Zambia and Zimbabwe, again, so much potential to work together on regional projects. So my answer to energy is renewable, battery energy systems, and regional projects. This is why I'm very passionate about SADC and Africa. We can do very little without working together. So the energy crisis in Zimbabwe cannot be solved by Zimbabwe alone. It will be solved as a SADC solution. It will be solved as an African solution. We are not in disagreement. Read my books. Come and buy my book. Read my book. Democracy, when I say democracy, I'm not saying be democratic like the Americans. Your own type of democracy. I'm a I'm a strong supporter of China. China does not have democracy the American way. They have selection plus election. They have meritocracy. So you're preaching to the choir, and I don't like preaching, but I'm converted. Merit is very important. If you're not careful, democracy produces mediocrity to run countries. I'll give you the example in China. You know those 9 men, if you remember that 9, they're called the Standing Committee of the Chinese Political Group. Those 9 men, 7 of them are engineers. Xi Jinping has got photographic memory. For you to rise to become a member of the Communist Party Central Committee, you start by heading a village. You do it very well, you head a district. You do it very well, you head a province. Very well, you go to the Senate. So when you see those men, you should have called women, but those men, those are superstars. So in their own vetted way without democracy, they're allowing their best minds to run China. So when you see China moving, it's being run by people with merit. When Xiaobao was Prime Minister about 6 years ago, when he was speaking at the World Economic Forum, people like Sarkozy and Tony Blair would run to grab the front seat to listen to the master. That's how powerful intellectually he was. So I totally agree that we must find a way, our own system, that allows some of our best minds to run countries. Look at Obama, look at Hillary Clinton, look at Bill Clinton. These are superstars. So their democracy, in a way, is delivering some capacity. David Cameron, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown. Go and Google them. First class from Oxford,
Again, they have their own democracy, but somehow their democracy is delivering some capacity. Kagame is not your Democrat, but he's doing serious stuff. There's merit there. So in other words, I'm saying, when I say democracy, your democracy is not producing merit. Your democracy is producing, your dictatorship is not producing meritocracy. It is Dada he's running the country. That's the wrong kind of dictatorship. Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore was not very democratic, but he took Singapore from the third world to the first without democracy. Mahathir in Malaysia, medical doctor, not very democratic. He did wonders in Malaysia. Lee Kuan Yew, by the way, is a PhD in law from Cambridge. So let us work together in our own way and build a system. When I say democracy, you want people to have a say. But your way of doing a say must also allow that piece you've raised of meritocracy. And by the way, I think that I'm hitting the guys who are running the country, even the opposition. What capacity is there? Can you show me a cabinet? Can you show me a cabinet from the chaps who are running a triple C? Seriously? That you guys can listen to. I'm saying it's a perennial problem of our politics around meritocracy. We need to solve it within the ruling party, within the opposition, within civil society, so that, by the way, I'm not a stickler to one system. I go to the lesson from Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew said, I looked at America, and I took what I want from America, I rejected the rest. I looked at China, I took what I wanted from China, then I looked at myself, and I built up the Singaporean model. So the Singaporean model is unique for Singapore. So Zimbabwe, what we need to do, look at America, borrow what we want, reject what we want. Look at China, look at ourselves as Africans and design our own Zimbabwean political model. So I want to emphasize, when I say democracy, I'm saying find a way that is credible to involve people. Don't rig elections, for example. That's not a good model, in my book. That's not a good model. But anyway, I just want to emphasize that we're together. You see it in my book. I actually talk about the Chinese. The Chinese laughed at Donald Trump. They said there's no way in China Donald Trump would become a president. He would not qualify. They actually laughed at the American system. Because using their checks and balances, you're not going to get to the presidency. Yeah? Read my book. Exposure, very important. Again, you are right, you can't just read. Take a team. Okay, once you have your vision, once you have your strategy, on the implementation, take a team to China to actually feel and touch technology. Take a team to Silicon Valley, but as a part of a program. I agree with you. You can't just read tactical teams. I agree with that. That they go to South Africa, they go to Singapore, and then they learn. And even partner. Go and work with them there, bring them here, work together. So we are together on that one. So in conclusion, all I can say to you is you have no choice but to embrace AI. It's not like a nice to have. If we don't embrace AI, we're going to destroy our country and our economy. The question is, how do we make ourselves ready for this revolution, which will proceed with or without you? I thank you so very much.